One of the unfortunate tags that our country bears is that South Africa is one of the most unequal countries in the world. It's not only morally unacceptable, but as the gap widens between rich and poor, the centre certainly cannot hold. The work of bringing dignity, homes and a livelihood to those previously denied it is not an overnight fix, however. But as we saw in July with all the unrest, if we don't fix that gap, we will all, both rich and poor, end up in a hole that we simply cannot climb out of. And finding ways to improve social justice is a key mandate that former public protector Professor Thuli Madonsela took on 4 years ago when she joined Stellenbosch University. She's the Law Trust Chair in Social Justice at that institution, and she spent the last 2 days convening important summits around social justice. She joins us now. Prof, thank you very much for chatting to us. Really important gatherings of people to discuss this issue of social justice and all the things that have been written down, all the convictions about doing the right thing are commendable and wonderful, but they've got to get practical as well. So my first question to you is, does our economic policy include social justice enough? Where is it doing it and where is it not?
Thanks, Sally, and greetings to everyone. The conclusion by the economists, lawyers, engineers, and other social scientists in the room is that there isn't a match between our social justice imperatives and our economic policies, that a lot of them are copy and paste from the West, and they tend to be neoliberal or even libertarian. However, that said, there is some work that has been done. I mean, the very fact that South Africa is one of the most elaborate social assistance programs or social security programs suggests that it is not that bad. However, the recommendation in the room was we need to rethink, though, what kind of society are we trying to build? And our keynote speaker today, Professor Lorenzo Figliamonti from Italy, was very clear that for a constitution such as ours, we need an economic policy that looks at value to society. If, for example, we're going for foreign direct investments, the first question we have to ask is not only how will this increase our GDP, we also have to ask ourselves what will be the impact on our Gini coefficient and total well-being of society. Because if we don't do that, we're placing all of ourselves in danger.
Does it include things like, I mean, do you see it as positive? And a story that our business desk brought to us yesterday, for example, the government is from now on only going to use South African-produced concrete. Is that the sort of social justice, that'll lead to surely more jobs, more benefits within South Africa? Is that the sort of mindful decision-making that we need to see more of or not?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the messages from Dr. Ntabiseng, to say up until now we've been producers of raw materials, and then they all go get processed overseas, and then we become a market. So Africa generally, and South Africa as part of Africa, has tended to be to allow itself to remain a labor pool as it was during colonialism, and then a market for finished goods. And that idea of cement that is manufactured here is amazing, because a whole lot of things flow from that. The IPs stayed home, the rent is not affected too much by foreign exchange, but thirdly, you create more jobs when things are done locally.
I suppose it's really difficult to make the right decisions, to really understand where the best benefit is going to come. And one of the arguments for creating more jobs is that we need to boost manufacturing in South Africa. But a counter-argument to that is, well, we've got countries like China who are doing it so much better than we ever could, that are just completely, we just simply cannot compete. Should we not just focus more on what we do really well, which is mining and growing fruit?
I think I've heard that argument, Sally. It's very short-sighted. And people who say that don't understand that China never was a manufacturing giant. It was Taiwan that was a manufacturing giant. China decided to create the kind of infrastructure, machinery, and digital infrastructure and roads to allow people to manufacture wherever they were. So they had a very clear policy that includes training public servants to be business literate so that whenever they design policies, they also understand what will be the impact on business. On our side, on the other hand, we're saying you do more than looking at what will be the impact on the business ecosystem. Look at whose business, because something might be good for big business, but a terrible initiative for small business. And then also you have to look at what does it mean for life in general, total well-being of people. And therefore, I don't agree with the China arrangement. What I do know, though, if you go the manufacturing way, you're not going to create jobs quickly because you have to invest in machinery to make sure that the cost of production is not prohibitive, and also that you can do it as fast as China is doing. It's criminal that we're ordering, no, not criminal, that's just a word, but I just think it really doesn't make sense that we've been hit by COVID-19 and most of these disposable masks that we're wearing are coming from China. It's going to be difficult, but it's sustainable.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is important that these conversations are held. It's important that these commitments are made. I mean, we haven't even touched on climate, which is a global focus now and has to be. But it's very difficult to make these changes overnight. And I think that not only COVID-19, but also what happened in July just hammered home that the gap is getting too big. And sometimes I think we fear that we've all just given up and we'll never be able to fix it. But I haven't got much longer with you, but if we could just say, I want to ask you what next with all these great ideas, great commitments. What's the next practical thing that you want to see happening?
Firstly, it's a policy change to reconsider our economic modelling, and we will be engaging with government around that to say we need an economic model that is aligned with the democracy architecture of our constitution, which is social democracy. And secondly, we will be helping government with tools to use data analytics to design impact-conscious laws, policies, and programs. That will also make sure that these are efficient. Money is used efficiently because if you do a spray gun approach, you lend some don't lend properly. But at the level of civil society, the biggest program is going to be around constitutional literacy, legal literacy, and economic literacy so that people can exercise social accountability, hold government accountable directly at local government, at provincial government, but also help government to meet them where they are.
Very important message, just 3 weeks shy of our next local election. Fascinating. Thank you so much. Professor Thuli Madonsela, Law Trust Chair in Social Justice at Stellenbosch University.